From Today and Tomorrow, great book. I would highly recommend reading. But if one uses nothing, then one would waste nothing. That seems plain enough. But look at it from another angle. If we use nothing at all, is not then the waste total? Is it conservation or waste to withdraw a public resource wholly from use? If a man skims himself through all the best years of his life in order to provide for his old age, has he conserved his resources or has he wasted them? Has he been constructively or destructively thrifty? How are we to reckon waste? Usually, we count waste in terms of material. If a housewife buys twice as much food as her family eats and throws the rest away, she is considered wasteful. But on the other hand, is a housewife who gives her family only half enough to eat thrifty? Not at all. She is even more wasteful than the first housewife, for she is wasting human lives. She is withdrawing from her family the strength which they need to do their work in the world. Materials are less important than human beings, although we have not yet come quite around to thinking in that fashion. Once upon a time, society hung a man for stealing a loaf of bread. Now society treats such an offense differently. It takes that man, puts him in prison, withdraws the benefit of any amount of labor which might make thousands of loaves of bread, and then actually feeds him many times as much bread as he stole. We not only waste this man's productive power, but also we call on other producers to support him. That is a flagrant waste. It is necessary and will be necessary to put men in jail until the news gets around that profit from dishonesty does not compare with profit from honesty. But there is no reason for thinking of jail as a tomb for the living. For under first class, non-political management, every jail in the country could be turned into an industrial unit, pay higher wages to men than they could earn on the outside, provide them with good food, reasonable work hours of labor, and then turn an excellent profit to the state. We already have prison labor, but most of it is ill-directed, degrading labor. A criminal is a non-producer, but when we have caught and sentenced, it is very wasteful to continue him as a non-producer. He can surely be turned into a producer and probably into a man. Yet because we value human time so lightly and materials so highly, we do not hear much about the waste of manpower in prison, nor do we hear much about the terrible waste of withdrawing support from the families of the convicts and throwing them on the community. Conserving our natural resources by withdrawing them from use is not a service to the community. That is holding to the old theory that a thing is more important than a man. Our natural resources are ample for all our present needs. We do not have to bother about them as resources. What we do have to bother about is the waste of human labor. My theory of waste goes back to the thing itself and to the labor of producing it. We want to get the full value of our labor so that we may be able to pay it full value. It is use, not conservation, that interests us. We want to use materials to the utmost in order that the time of men may not be lost. Materials cost nothing. It is of no account until it becomes into the hand of management. So I absolutely love his commentary there on what is waste. Like, is it wasteful to try to save money by buying lower quality food because you're actually wasting your health, wasting your potential, wasting your mental capabilities? Is it, like, it redefines how a lot of us think about waste, because we've been so conditioned by society that we only think of waste in terms of dollar. Because it is easy to measure money, money becomes the default measurement for a lot of things that we do. So we use money to measure waste instead of time or man hours. It's a lot easier to measure money. So a lot of the times when people say waste not, want not, they're solely referring to not wasting materials. I have never heard anyone besides myself refer to waste not, want not in terms of time. Because a lot of people, you'll see them saying waste not, want not, and they'll do some task which saves them pennies but costs them hours. And you look at that and you're like, sure, I mean, if you value your time, if you value your life at nothing, then yes, you're wasting nothing. Like, waste not, want not, go ahead, man. But like, the moment you start thinking, what's the cost of what I'm trying to do? What's the value of my time? maybe this isn't the best use of it. So I wanted to come up with some examples for this. Driving across town to save small discounts on groceries, on gas. This is so common. People like waste not, want not as they drive 15, 20, 30 minutes to some gas station far away. No, like you're literally wasting your time. And the funniest thing, well, the saddest thing about this is at the end of their life, that's when they actually want the time. They're like, most people don't value their time until they realize they're gonna die. Like you're gonna die someday. And then like, I want more time. You don't value your time until you realize you're gonna die one day. So the sooner you can have that thought and realization and actually internalize it, the better. Extreme couponing. You have to actually look at the amount of time and keep track of DIY fixes. So DIY plumbing, DIY fixes on cars, like understand what would it cost to hire someone to do this? What would it cost to hire someone who does this task 10, 20 times a day and does it for their profession? Like, would that save you a bunch of time? Trying to save money by making homemade versions and spending hours baking, making sauces. This is true if you're trying to use it to save money. There is another method of doing the homemade versions because you can't get stuff that doesn't have soybean oil and vegetable oils, which are freaking poison. Or you want to have full control over the quality of the product. Also, because you just like and enjoy baking, but you have to realize and make sure when you're doing the activity, you're not doing it being like, oh, I'm saving money, that's why I'm doing it. You have to be like, no, I'm doing this because you can't get a better quality product, or I enjoy doing this. So check your reasons and make sure they're actually valid. Next time you say, I'm doing this because I'm saving money, think about it. Are you actually saving money? Are you saving money only because you're valuing your time at nothing? Small repairs and replacements. So constantly repairing old computers, old appliances, finishing old furniture. Oh my god. Unless you enjoy woodworking, like it is cheaper to go buy new furniture sometimes than the amount of hours it takes you to refinish old furniture. And I've done this myself. If you enjoy upcycling for the pure satisfaction you get from turning trash into treasure, then do it. But if you don't get that satisfaction and you're only doing it because you're like, I need to save money, think about the time. You could drive Uber and get paid 15 to 20 bucks an hour. For me personally, I love kombucha. I've looked up videos on how to make kombucha, and it is time intensive. I thought about it enough, and I don't think when you take into account your time that it would actually be saving me any money. I think it'd be costing me money for me to make my own kombucha, especially when I can't believe I don't have a bottle on me. I think it's Synergy. That could just be the flavor. Oh, GTS. My favorite brand kombucha, gingerberry, best flavor. But think about this. Like next time you're saying I'm saving money, this is why I'm doing this. What are you valuing your time at? That's so crucial. Then let's see. He also talks about jail, putting people in jail, wasting a production. I completely agree with his ideas on that. The reason why we currently get stuff made in jails is because the prisoners are paid like 20 cents per hour, like absurdly low wages. And because the cost is so cheap, no one ever puts any effort into automating the process. What Ford does is back in the day, he paid $5 a day when the average wage was like $2. But he does that by automating the process, which then allows for one person to do the work of many people through the aid of machines, which allows that one person to get paid much more, because you can't get paid more unless that one person can add more value and produce more. So he pays that person more, and when applied to jail, this would have profound effects. It would help them raise their value of their self because they would see themselves as a contributor to society, which would be a mind shift for them and actually help them once they got out of jail, instead of our current system, which just locks them up, makes them do menial stuff, degrades them, And it's a horrible system. It's absolute crap. I also love that one sentence. If a man skims himself through all the best years of his life in order to provide for his old age, has he conserved his resources or has he wasted them? So peace out and think about that.